My family told me. We're skipping vacation this year, money's tight. I believed them. Until my credit card got hit for a 12-person yacht charter, sunset dinners, and luxury spa add-ons. I didn't confront. I just hit. Dispute all. Froze the shared travel wallet. At the port, they were told. No payment. No boarding. My sister texted. What did you do? I just replied. Corrected a billing error. My dad went crazy, and the next day, when my mom sat us all down at the start of June and said, We're not going on vacation this year, we're broke. I didn't question it. I nodded, accepted it, and quietly decided I'd keep the $6,500 I'd saved for a family trip in my high-yield account for another time. I wasn't angry or disappointed. I just figured, okay, tough year. Inflation's been brutal, gas is high, and Dad's hours got cut in the spring. I knew things were tight. So I offered to cover the utility bills for the summer, just to help out. No one thanked me, but I didn't expect them to. That's how it always was. Then last Thursday, I got 3 alerts back-to-back from my credit card company. The first one I thought was a mistake. $3,800 to a luxury yacht rental service in San Diego. The second was another $950 for a sunset dinner cruise, and the third, oddly specific, was $1,200 to a spa for deluxe therapeutic treatments and champagne brunch. All charges came from the same joint travel account we'd set up years ago, where I was the only one who actually ever deposited money. The account Dad used. For emergencies only. Right. I stared at my phone for maybe 30 seconds, then clicked dispute all, logged into my bank, froze the account, and flagged everything with the fraud department. That evening, they were scheduled to board a yacht for 12 people, full catered dinner, drinks, the works. A 4-day floating paradise. I didn't say a word. I just waited. I heard from them about an hour later. The marina staff had turned them away. My sister Megan texted me in all caps. What have you done? I replied. I corrected a mistake in the bill. That set it off. I didn't even have time to set my phone down before it started blowing up. Voicemails from my mom screaming about how I humiliated them in front of her church friend's family. My dad shouting into the receiver, calling me ungrateful, selfish, a traitor. My other sister, Maddie, just sent one line. I hope you're proud. They were furious. I was calm. Next morning, Dad showed up at my apartment door. No call, no text. Just banged on it until I opened. He stood there shaking, red in the face. Didn't even wait to come inside before unloading. You've ruined us, he said. You embarrassed this family. You have no idea the damage you've done. I let him go on. When he finally ran out of words, I told him the truth. That money? It was for me. I'd been saving it for 4 years. That joint account? I'd kept it active only for when we traveled together. Not for my parents to go yachting while pretending they couldn't afford a beach motel. And the worst part? I would have helped them, honestly, if they just asked. Instead, they lied. Stole. Gaslit me into thinking we were broke while secretly spending everything behind my back. All because they assumed I'd just never find out. But I did. And I wasn't going to be that quiet, obedient Alex anymore. They didn't know it yet, but that was just the beginning. 2 days passed without a word from them. No texts, no calls. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew it wasn't silence. That was never their style. At first, I thought maybe they were ashamed. Maybe they realized how far they'd gone this time. But I gave them too much credit. On the third morning, I woke up to a knock on the door. I didn't answer. I already knew who it was. My apartment has a camera in the peephole, and sure enough, Dad, standing there in his old fishing cap, arms crossed, face tight. He didn't leave. He knocked again. And again. I watched him through the peephole for almost 5 minutes, then walked away. I went back to bed. He finally gave up. An hour later, the calls started. First from Megan. Then Maddie. Then Mom. When I didn't pick up, the voicemails started stacking up. That afternoon, Dad finally sent a text. You're a coward. You humiliated us in front of people who've known us for decades. You ruined a memory your mother worked hard to plan. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? You better fix this. I didn't reply. That evening, I sat down and did something I should have done a long time ago. I opened the joint travel account and printed out every transaction made over the past year. Not just the yacht and spa, but dozens of charges I had never noticed: Airbnb deposits, restaurant tabs, shopping sprees. Things they never told me about. Things they paid for with my money. They hadn't gone broke. They'd been spending my savings behind my back and still looked me in the eye and told me there would be no vacation this year because times are hard. I should have felt angry. But it wasn't anger. Not anymore. It was cold, like everything had finally clicked into place. I'd given too many second chances. Let too many things slide. So I called the bank. I told them the truth. That I never authorized any of the charges. That the account had been misused. They flagged everything. Froze it. Started an investigation. I gave them full permission to pull phone records, verify IP addresses, anything they needed. Then I logged into the account where I'd been paying the family's monthly utilities. $487 for electricity. $188 for water. $200 for internet. Every month for the past 2 years. I switched it all off. The moment the payments were cancelled, the dam broke. Mom called. When I didn't answer, she sent 5 voice messages. I listened to the first 2. She was screaming. Said the power had been shut off mid-shower. That they were humiliated and sitting in the dark. That this was childish and spiteful and exactly the kind of thing that made people cut their kids off. She left that last part like a threat, but it was laughable. I'd been paying their bills since I was 22. I'm 28 now. Megan sent a screenshot of a declined Venmo transfer and captioned it. So this is who you are now. Maddie followed up an hour later with, "You think this makes you look strong? It doesn't. It just proves we were right not to trust you." That one made me pause. Not to trust me? They stole from me. Lied to my face. And now I was the traitor? That night, Dad called again. I picked up. He launched right in. Told me I was a disgrace. That I was acting like a stranger. That I was playing with things I didn't understand. That I had ruined them. He said I'd embarrassed him as a father. That the whole family looked at me differently now. That I was making a scene for no reason, all because I couldn't handle being left out of one trip. That's when I lost my patience. I told him this wasn't about being left out. This was about being lied to, used, and treated like a bank machine. I told him they could have asked for help, but instead they stole from me. And not just recently, for years. He didn't deny it. Just said, "You'll regret doing this to us." I told him calmly, "No. You'll regret doing this to me. Because this is never going to happen again." I hung up. I shut off my phone. I went to sleep. And for the first time in a very long time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. But I had a feeling this wasn't over. And I was right. It didn't take long for them to shift from rage to strategy. They always did this: explode first, then regroup and try to manipulate their way back in. Except this time, the stakes were different. I wasn't just the son who pulled away. I was the one who took the money with him. 3 days after I cut them off, Megan posted a picture of herself on Instagram in front of a gas station with the caption, "This is what happens when family betrays you." Maddie commented, "It's always the quiet ones who stab you in the back." I didn't even follow them anymore. A friend sent me the screenshot. They'd gone public now, spinning the story. Painting themselves as victims. I was the villain, the jealous sibling who turned on his own flesh and blood. Then the phone calls from extended family started. My aunt from Houston. A cousin I hadn't heard from in 2 years. All of them suddenly deeply concerned. "I heard you cut your parents off. Is everything okay? Why would you cancel a trip they'd been planning for months? Your mom's not doing well, Alex. Maybe you should call her." That's when it became clear. They weren't just mad. They wanted to make me pay. I found out later from someone who still talks to them that they'd been calling around, trying to find ways to legally gain access to the remaining funds in the joint account. But it was already locked. The bank had flagged it for investigation, and no one was getting near it without a subpoena. I stayed quiet. Didn't respond to the posts, didn't return any of the family calls, didn't defend myself. I just watched. Then something strange happened. One morning, I got an email from my leasing office. It was a request for verification of income, from my parents. Apparently, someone had called pretending to be me and asked for copies of my rent and employment records. For tax reasons. The office flagged it and asked me to confirm. I was done playing nice. I called my bank again and extended the fraud report to include possible identity theft. I changed all my passwords, locked down my credit, and started documenting everything. The next time Dad called, I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. I still remember the first sentence. "I don't know who you think you are now, but we're not going to let you destroy this family." It was ironic. They'd stolen from me, slandered me, and tried to access my private records, and I was the one destroying the family? I decided to meet them once. Not to make peace. Just to see how far they'd fallen into this version of reality they built. We met at a diner halfway between our homes. When I walked in, Dad was already sitting. Megan and Maddie were there too. Mom walked in last, like she was entering a courtroom. They started soft. Said they were worried. Said they just wanted to talk. Then Megan said, "We all make mistakes, Alex. You could have handled this differently." I asked her, "What mistake did I make exactly?" No one answered. Mom finally said, "You didn't need to cut off everything. That was cruel." I leaned back and told them I was done being the family's ATM. That the line was crossed the moment they used my money and lied about it. That this wasn't about the yacht or the spa or the dinner. It was about the years of taking and never once asking if I was okay. Dad's expression changed then. He dropped the calm act. Said I was acting like a king punishing his peasants. Said I'd become arrogant. That I wasn't raised to be like this. I told him, "You're right. I wasn't raised. I was used." He stood up and walked out. Megan followed. Maddie glared at me. Only Mom stayed for a moment longer. She said, "This family isn't going to forget this." I told her, "Good. Maybe then they'll finally remember what they did." She left. It was only July, and I had a feeling things were just getting started. But I wasn't afraid. I had nothing left to lose, and everything to gain. After that diner meeting, things went quiet. Not calm, quiet, like the silence before a storm. I knew they were planning something. It was never over with them after one confrontation. They weren't the kind of people who accepted consequences. They were the kind who saw boundaries as puzzles to solve. 2 weeks went by. Then the next wave hit. It started with a letter. A real, physical letter, folded twice and shoved into my mailbox. No stamp, no return address, just my name in my dad's handwriting. Inside was a single page. A printed document titled, "Notice of Family Obligation." I actually laughed when I saw it. He tried to make it look official. Said I owed the family $23,000 for years of unpaid support and resources given during your upbringing. He listed groceries, utilities from when I was a teenager, even a line item for Wi-Fi access 2009 to 2016. There was no signature at the bottom. Just 2 words, "Make it right." I tossed it in the trash and blocked his number again. The next day, Megan tried to get into my building. Told the doorman she was checking on her brother, he's having mental health problems. Security had to escort her out when she refused to leave. 2 days later, Maddie tagged me in a TikTok story, a video where she was fake crying, holding an empty fridge door open, captioned, "When your brother cuts you off and your parents can't afford groceries anymore." I wasn't even following her. Someone from work sent it to me. That's when it finally hit me. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about control. They'd lost the leash, and now they were flailing. But I stayed calm. I called my HR department and flagged everything. I explained the situation, just in case someone from my family tried to contact them, because I wouldn't put it past Dad to fake a reference call or something even messier. My boss was understanding. A little stunned, but supportive. Then I checked my Venmo again. Megan had requested $2,500 with the note, "Emergency." Maddie requested $800 with just a sad face emoji. I didn't reject them. I didn't reply. I just left them sitting there, unread. Then, something changed. That Sunday, I didn't send over the monthly payment for the house bills. First time in 2 years. Nothing for electric, nothing for gas, nothing for internet. I wanted to see what would happen. If they noticed. They did. Monday morning, the calls started again. The power had been cut off during the night. They'd called the utility company, who told them the automatic payments had been disabled. Internet was already down. By the afternoon, their water bill had gone overdue too. Mom left a voicemail in tears, begging me to just pay this month, and we can talk. Dad texted, "Don't do this to your mother." Maddie wrote, "You're literally torturing us." But I didn't respond. Instead, I sent one final message to the family group chat, the same one they'd used to plan their secret yacht getaway. I wrote, "I'm done being your backup plan. Megan and Maddie are 19 now, adults. Let them get jobs. Let them help you. I spent 6 years paying bills you never thanked me for. I'm not doing it anymore. This isn't revenge. This is clarity." No one replied. For the first time in a long time, my silence was louder than anything they could scream. It took them 2 days to respond to the message I left in the group chat. 2 long, empty days. Not even a typing bubble. I thought maybe they'd finally accepted it, the cutoff, the silence, the end. But no. They were just regrouping. Wednesday afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. A few minutes later, I listened to the message, expecting more guilt or rage. It wasn't either. It was my Uncle Jeff. He hadn't spoken to me in years. He was Dad's older brother, the one they never invited to family events, always said was a drunk or a flake. But his message was calm and direct. "Hey, Alex. It's Jeff. I heard about everything. You don't owe me anything, but if you want the truth about your dad and that money, call me back." I called him that night. He told me things I didn't know, things that made my stomach twist. Like how Dad had been borrowing from other family members for years, using my name sometimes to reassure them that repayment was coming. Or how he'd told people I was handling all the finances now, and used that as a cover to collect money from cousins and even one of my mom's old coworkers. Uncle Jeff also confirmed something I'd suspected but never proven: the travel account had been accessed with a clone device. Not from Dad's phone, but from a backup they kept in the house, one I forgot even existed. He told me he saw Megan using it when he visited a few months back. That broke something in me. I had been wrong about the depth of it. It wasn't just entitlement. It was calculated. Organized. They knew exactly what they were doing. Then Jeff said something I didn't expect. "I've been thinking about getting a lawyer. You might want to think about it too. If they start messing with your name or credit again, you'll need to protect yourself." It hit me right then. This was no longer just family drama. This was identity fraud. Theft. And the only reason they weren't in jail was because I hadn't pressed charges. Yet. The next morning, Megan showed up at my office. Security called me before letting her through. I watched on the camera feed as she tried to bluff her way in, saying she had an emotional emergency and needed to see me. I told security to escort her out and document everything. That same day, I got an alert on my credit report. Someone tried to apply for a department store credit card under my name. They used my full name, date of birth, and a previous address. I reported it immediately. That night, I filed an official police report. It wasn't a full criminal complaint yet, but it documented everything. I attached the letter from Dad, the screenshots of the Venmo requests, and the alert from the credit agency. I listed every single thing Uncle Jeff told me, including names. Then I locked my credit for good. The next morning, I got another call, this time from Mom. No voicemail, just a call. Then another. Then another. I finally answered. She didn't cry this time. She said they knew I'd talked to Jeff. That I had no idea what kind of damage I was doing to this family. Then she made it clear, if I took things further, they'd fight back. "Be careful, Alex. You're still our son." That was her final card. The last one she had. She thought the word son still meant something that would bind me. But it didn't. What came next was even more unexpected. That night, Jeff called again. He said Dad came to his house. Furious. Demanding to know what he told me. Jeff said it got so heated that Dad shoved him. Jeff called the police. Filed a restraining order. So now Dad had a police report of his own. The structure was cracking, piece by piece. And they knew it. I could see it in how quiet they got after that. No more messages. No more fake Venmo requests. No more public posts. They were regrouping again, but this time, I had the upper hand. And I wasn't done yet. There was still one thing left they didn't expect. The final step. August 1st came and went without a payment. That was the real test. They knew my schedule. I always paid their bills on the first of the month, like clockwork. They counted on it. But this time, nothing. No electric, no gas, no internet, no insurance. I'd even removed my card from the auto-payment system for their phone plans, something I'd quietly been covering since Megan's first iPhone in high school. I woke up to 13 missed calls. By noon, I had 32 text messages across every app they could still reach me on. The best one was from Dad. "You've made your point. Now fix it." I didn't reply. That evening, Mom sent a video message, her pacing in the living room, lights off, saying how Dad was yelling, the twins were crying, and she couldn't believe I'd do this after everything they gave me. Everything they gave me. I sat there in my apartment, lights on, air conditioning humming, coffee in hand, and thought, they still don't get it. Not even now. So I sent one last message. Direct. Not to argue. Just to end it. "You used me. Lied to me. Tried to ruin me when I stood up for myself. I've been paying your bills for years without a thank you. Now you expect more? No. Let Megan and Maddie get jobs. They're 19, not 9. I'm not your bank anymore. Don't contact me again." 5 minutes later, Megan called. I let it ring. Then Maddie called. Then Mom. All ignored. Then Dad. This time I answered. He was quiet at first. Not yelling. Not angry. Just quiet. "Is this it?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "This is it." Long pause. Then he muttered. "You're making a mistake." I said. "No. I made the mistake 6 years ago when I started paying for people who saw me as a wallet." I hung up. 3 days passed. No one called. No one messaged. Then my aunt, the one who always stayed out of family stuff, texted me. "Your parents came over. They're different. Tired. Quiet. Megan applied for a job at the pet store. Maddie too. I think they finally got it." I didn't reply. It wasn't revenge. It was liberation. The weight I'd been carrying wasn't just financial. It was the guilt. The pressure. The years of believing that I was only valuable if I kept giving. Now, for the first time in my life, I felt like myself. And I wasn't going back. 3 months passed. The kind of silence that felt unnatural. No more calls, no texts, no late-night voicemails from Mom blaming me for the state of their lives. Megan and Maddie stayed quiet too. I knew they were working. A friend sent me a photo of Megan restocking shelves at Walgreens with that distant, frozen look she used to mock in others. Maddie, I heard, was bagging groceries at a local chain, her name tagged crooked in the photo. I didn't reach out. I didn't gloat. I just kept moving forward. Then, last Tuesday, I got a letter in the mail. Not a bill. Not a legal notice. Just a plain white envelope with my name scrawled across the front, no return address. Inside was a single photograph. It was one I hadn't seen in over a decade, me, maybe 11 or 12, sitting on a beach towel between Mom and Dad. I was holding a juice box, squinting at the sun, wearing one of those cheap plastic visors. Mom had her arm around me. Dad was actually smiling. I stared at it for a long time. Not because it moved me, but because I couldn't figure out what they thought this would do. On the back, in tight, sharp handwriting. "Remember who you were before all this." That was it. I flipped the envelope over and noticed something strange. A smudge near the bottom corner, like a pencil had been erased but left a trace. I angled it under the light and saw what looked like the start of a phone number. But it was 1 digit short. Deliberate? Or a mistake? It didn't matter. I wasn't calling. But that moment shifted something in me. Because it proved what I already suspected, they hadn't let go. Not really. The silence hadn't been surrender, it was waiting. Watching. Planning. And maybe, just maybe, they were going to try one last time.